Hello, good morning. You're watching Chris on Monday, the 15th of March 2021. That's what the date is. That's Let's see hang on, I'm missing something here. I'm definitely missing something here. Nothing's going the way I want it to. But there we go, we'll live. I'm not going to be able to see who's watching, but we'll see what's going on. So I'm annoyed today. I'm usually annoyed when I do a live, but I'm especially annoyed today because I'm sick. Patrice58, good morning. I'm sick of people defending. I'm going to try and word this correctly. Not defending. I'm sick of people turning their nose up at men when we say not all men. Seriously, what happened to Sarah Everard was disgusting. And it is the responsibility of all men to make sure that doesn't happen. That's a fact. That is a fact. Okay? We all have a responsibility to be decent human beings and to keep everyone safe. Okay, women sadly are targets for a minority of horrible, nasty, pervy, murdery, rapey arseholes. That's a sad reality. And I'm going to say this because this is also a good reality. That is not all men. Not all men are nasty, pervy, rapey, murdery bastards. We're not. But we all have a responsibility to make sure that if we see something we're not happy with, if we see that or even think it, to bring it to the attention of someone. The same as I'm going to say this. Not all police are bad. We've got a bit of a double whammy here because we have one, I'm not even going to say he's a man. Men don't do that. One subspecies of the male chromosome. And he was also a police officer. This isn't great, really, is it? Because we're supposed to trust the police. And I do trust the police. One bad police officer is all it takes to bring the rest of them down, sadly. Look at this beard, my jaw's wonky. Look at this, look. And I'm going to say it. Not all police officers are bad. Not all men are nasty. We're not. That's a fact. And yet there are people out there who seem to think it's okay to belittle when we say this, when we try to defend ourselves as decent human beings. We get dragged through the mud. I see a story on Facebook earlier. This woman from Harvard, I believe, saying that the reason why men say not all men is because apparently there's a Me Too complex, a power trip thing going on, and something else which she rattled on a load of old bollocks about. No, we say it's not all men because it's genuinely not all men. How sexist is that? I said this the other day. I don't want to walk down the street and have a woman across the road from me or walking in front of me, looking over her shoulder. I don't want her to feel that way. I don't want to feel accused of being something I'm not. I don't want all of us men, especially decent men, hard-working, honest, good people, which is what a majority of us are, to be accused of something we're not. And to accuse us of that is very sexist, wouldn't you say? Absolutely disgusting. Roy West, good morning. Transport Hub, good morning. Sarah's Random Videos, morning, Chris. Hope you're okay. I'm well. I'm just slightly cheesed off. Saw your comment on Facebook. Well said. I appreciate you saying that, Jack. I'm just so hacked off with this label culture. That's exactly what it is. The whole of the UK. In fact, it's not just the UK. It's the whole world lately has become obsessed with this labelling, mollycoddling culture. Everyone has to get a label. Give someone a label if they are genuinely that label. If there is someone who is a sexist, call them out for being sexist. If there's someone who is genuinely a murderer being found guilty of it and is unequivocal proof, like this arsehole that killed Sarah Everard, he is a kidnapping, murdering bastard. If someone is a racist and there is proof that they are racist and you want to call them out on it, give them the label racist by all means. But do not, for the love of God, tar everyone with the same brush. Not all men are nasty. Yeah? The same as not all women are bitchy. You know, it may seem that way sometimes. See, I can start casting assumptions, can't I? But that would be sexist of me to say that. Not all women are bitchy. It's true. Not all white people are racist. Not all black people are racist. Not all police are criminals themselves. You see, is this label culture that we're all obsessed with is driving me mad. It really is. Everyone has to feel so wrapped in cotton wool because everyone gets so offended by everything. I get offended when something directly affects me. When I'm being accused of something I'm not, that's when it starts affecting me. God, I hate this beard. It's getting on my nerves. Actually, Chris, that guy isn't a murderer and he hasn't been found guilty in court. Be careful. I think you'll find that he is a murderer and I'm not tied to anything to do with that, but okay, let's play devil's advocate here. I'm assuming he's a murderer, okay? And when he is found guilty, which he probably will be, then I'll label him a murderer. Okay? I mean, the chances of her getting in his car because he was just giving her a lift home and then she got out the car and then she went missing somewhere else in a different way is very unlikely. It's very unlikely. And for this same bloke, this same police officer, look at this beard, look, my wonky jaw, I hate it. And for this police officer to have had other complaints made against him, it doesn't really bode well for this bloke, does it? It doesn't bode well for this bloke at all in the grand scheme of things. Especially when the bigger picture comes out, we'll find out exactly what happened with this bloke and with her. There is that. I just wish that she wasn't there that time. You know what I mean? She literally could have been at home, could have been anywhere else, but she was there. He exposed himself previously. Yeah, he did. And when the truth about that comes out as to how that happened, is the whole bigger picture is going to end up coming out. Is what's going to happen there. And then we'll see whether he's guilty or not. We all know what he is, and I'm not going to get done for liable because we all know what he is. But there you go. But I'm sick of this label culture, labeling a whole group of people something because of one person. I think is absolutely disgusting. It is disgusting. You see, it even goes back to the police in relation to George Floyd. There is police brutality. There is. Not all police are like that, but they do have a responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen. You see, there is inequality when it comes to policing. Again, not all police are like that. And it is their responsibility to make sure that it isn't seen that way. You see? And I understand it's frustrating. I understand the disproportionateness of a lot of society. I get it. I see it. But we can't keep labelling a whole group of people something when they're not. Because of the actions of one man or two men. Not all men are like that. It drives me mad. It upsets me. I don't want to feel like a criminal if I'm walking down the school to go pick my son up. And then what makes it even worse is when you get people that are defending this silly old cow for saying there should be a curfew at 6:30 or no 6 o'clock for men. Really? How sexist is that? So basically what you're saying is if you agree with this 6 o'clock curfew for men, is what you're saying is you agree with the point of all men being nasty, murdery, rapey bastards. You're agreeing with that. If you agree with a curfew, that's exactly what you're agreeing to. You're suggesting all men are that. Okay? This is a stupid idea. This, again, look, Transport Hub said it straight as I said it. This is a stupid idea. Because what's going to happen then? Okay, if all men are at home at 6 o'clock, are you seriously telling me that women are incapable of murder? Are you seriously telling me women are incapable of kidnap? Are you seriously telling me that women are incapable of raping other women? You seriously telling me that? You know what's going to end up happening if the very slim chance that a curfew actually comes in, you know what it'll be? And the biggest backlash of all of this will be hashtag ladies of the night. Think about that. Patrice, actually, men shouldn't leave their houses at all so women can feel safe. Really? I think we're having a bit of a... I think you're winding me up here. Actually, men shouldn't leave their house at all so women can feel safe. No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. Seriously not having it. So basically, if that's the case, then men can't work. Which means that puts yet more pressure on women to be the breadwinners in a household. Which then puts more pressure on them to work in an unfair environment where women are paid less than men. So, you know, how's that going to work? That's not going to work at all. Looks like there will be a lot of trouble this weekend as large protests are planned and the police may have more powers to act. Yeah, this is very annoying. And the thing is, when it comes down to Clapham, I want to get round to Clapham because there's a memorial, people laying flowers, and I think it's beautiful, at the bandstand in Clapham Common. Now, again, mixed emotions about this because if you're doing this in a safe, responsible way and you're keeping socially distanced from people and you're laying these flowers down and you're literally being decent about it and showing respect to Sarah Everard and her family, then I've got no problem with that at all. In fact, I encourage it. I do. The vigil more than likely was said, no, we're not going to allow this vigil purely because we are aware of how many people are going to turn up that aren't going to social distance, and it is not great for public health at this stage in the game. I believe that. Jan, good morning. I believe, and this is what I believe the problem came from a dislike and an absolute growing hatred of police. Police were there yesterday, or whenever this happened, and a lot of people turned up, and I believe that there was an absolute growing number of people there showing absolute disgusting disrespect and animosity towards police. And I believe they had to take action and deal with it. Not all police are bad people. They're there to keep us safe. They are. That is their job. Because one person decided to go against that completely 100% and turn his back on every single core value of the police and every core value of a decent man, people seem to think it's okay to just crap on the police. And yet when the police are needed by people that crap on them, You know, it becomes a bit hypocritical, isn't it? It's like, oh, I can't stand the police. And when the second you get a problem, hello, police, yeah, I've got a bit of a problem. I need the police now. Really? How can you slate the police so much and then go and use them when you need them? I think a lot of what happened is a direct result of animosity towards the police. Do you honestly think the police are going to do anything at this point to try and make the situation worse without there being a reason for anything? I don't think the police wanted to arrest anyone. I don't think the police particularly wanted to be there, but they had a job to do. Let's see, police officers have too much power, the public are defenceless. No, the police do not have too much power. I think you'll find that a lot of people are the ones who have a lot of power, because the police do so by consent in this country, and I actually believe the police don't have enough power to do their job effectively without being accused of doing something that's wrong. That's what I think. That's what I think. If anyone gets the chance on YouTube, there's a live streamer called Active Tyrant UK who streamed the whole event at Clapham, and the outnumbered police were lucky to get out uninjured. See, there we go. Thousands of people against a handful of police trying to keep everyone safe. The police aren't there because they want to be there. They're there for your benefit. They're there to protect you. If they say to you, look, you're breaking COVID rules, you shouldn't be here, please go home. For yours and everyone's safety, please just disperse quietly. Be peaceful, go about your business, but please be respectful to yourself, Sarah Everard's family and each other. Please disperse. The thing is, people don't want to do... Police don't have enough power. I agree, pal. Thank you very much. Hunger strike and people protesters. This is just getting on. It just, hang on a minute. Coffee. I need to collect myself. I'm getting so hacked off with society these days. Let me calm myself down. Because I know I'm not a bad person. 99.9999999% of men in this country are fantastic, decent human beings. We would literally stop something from happening if we saw it. We would jump in. So to accuse people, all men, of being tyrants, of being nasty, to impose a 6 p.m. curfew on all men for the actions of one. That's disgusting. It's actually quite hurtful. I was brought up to be a decent human being. And I try every single day. I do my best. I bring my kids up to be decent human beings. Yeah? I do. I teach them right from wrong. I teach them to identify discrimination. If they see it and they can identify what it is, they know exactly what not to do and what not to be like, and they can call it as unfair. If they see something that is unfair, they can identify something as being unfair. They can identify something as being racist. They can see it. And if they can see it, they can call it out. And they know exactly how not to be because it actually disgusts them. You see? My little boy could say something. If they see something on the... Why is that happening to that man? Oh, yeah, people are saying that happened to that man because he or she is black. That's not fair. That shouldn't happen, Daddy. Why does that happen? You see, and you have to explain to him that there are nasty people out there that are sadly racist. And that upsets him because he thinks everyone should be treated the same. I teach my kids to be decent people. I was taught to be a decent person. All of us, pretty much, all bar a select few, are decent people. Why should we all be tarred with the same brush? We shouldn't be tarred with the same brush. Let me read some more of these comments. I really appreciate everyone commenting this morning. I had a fight. I had fight for my genocide. I don't know exactly what it is you're on about. Please enlighten me so I can have a bit more of a description of what so I can read there. So sorry if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying there. They have very little compared to America. Yeah, this is very true. The police, UK police, tried do same thing while person like George Floyd died in American death. You see, the thing is though, there is police brutality. There is an unfairness when it comes to policing. I get that. It is unfair and it does need to stop. George Floyd, regardless of his background, because there's people out there that are going to say, oh, George Floyd was a criminal, blah, blah, blah. That's irrelevant. His background was irrelevant. The problem what happened with George Floyd is he was treated with unnecessary force because of his skin colour. That's police brutality there. That is what happened there. And I do believe that if George Floyd was a white man with the exact same history, he wouldn't have been treated that way. And that's what needs to change. That is what is needed to change. Yeah, unfair police, in fact, all police brutality. It's not a case of unfair police brutality. All police brutality needs to stop. And treating black people different because they're black is absolutely disgusting. This is the unfairness that needs to change. In the UK, it's very, very similar. You've got an unfair, a disproportionate amount of people being stopped and searched. Now, the police will say, oh, but judging by the figures and the demographics and the blah, 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 blah. I get that. I do understand it. Because as someone who does this on YouTube, I have to see everything from everyone's point of view. I have to try at least, even if I don't agree with it. But black people in this country, black boys, do get disproportionately discriminated against by the police, and that does need to change. But the police's defence on that will be, well, knife crime is done by a certain percentage of people and we have to make sure that we go by the figures and blah, blah, blah. Again, I understand that, but it's still disproportionately unfair. And this is why the word white privilege comes into it. Now, personally myself, I have never experienced white privilege, and there's different interpretations of white privilege, okay? A lot of people agree with it. A lot of people don't agree with it. I'm going to try and explain to you what it actually is, whether you've experienced it or not. So, I've never experienced white privilege. Okay? I have had to work hard for everything my entire life. I've never been given anything ever for free. I've been turned down jobs because I'm white, funnily enough. Which is positive discrimination. I've never had any handouts from anyone because of my skin colour, blah, 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 blah. What it is, okay, white privilege, what it actually is another way of saying unfair advantage. So because I've never experienced any of this white privilege, I've never experienced it, it doesn't mean that I don't have it, because in society, unfortunately, I do have, the same as everyone who is white, an unfair advantage. That's what it is. That's what white privilege is. Okay, because I don't receive it, because I've never experienced it, doesn't mean it isn't there. Okay, so if I can clarify what this actually is to people who don't understand what white privilege is, white privilege is basically an unfair advantage in society, which means if I am in a group 50% white and 50% black, and we're all doing the same crime, say we're all robbing a bank, for example, and we all run away, we all think we've got away with it, and then CCTV doesn't get me, and it doesn't get him, and it doesn't get him, the odds are I'm statistically more likely to get away with it because of white privilege. Okay? And I've never heard this explained any other way. If I apply for a job, if 4 other white men and 5 black men and 10 white women and 10 black women apply for the same job, okay, this isn't across the board. Okay, I just want to say this, but statistically speaking, out of everyone who applies for that job, I am more likely to get that job than one of my black counterparts. And that is white privilege. That is what needs to change. Because I've never experienced it doesn't mean that it isn't in society. And this, boys and girls, is what is known as systemic racism. And this needs to stop. Okay? So not all white people are racist. Not all black people are racist. Not all police are bad. And not all men are assholes. And not all women are bitches. So I hope I've educated a few people as to what white privilege is just there. So, I just wanted to get that out of the way. And by the way, I do want to get this across. If you are a black man or woman watching this and you disagree with what my interpretation of what white privilege is, please feel free to drop a comment down below and let me know, because I genuinely want to get educated further on this subject. I really, really do. Because I'm not going to lie. At first I was like, white privilege, it's a load of old bollocks. What a load of old shit. What is this? I grew up in the 80s. I went to school with the same people. A really amazing mix of black and white. We all had the same education. Blah, blah, blah. Where's the white privilege? Because we've all been treated the same. The thing is, although that is true, it's not the fact that we were treated the same growing up. It's how we're treated later on in life. Okay, this is where it comes from. We could have all had the same education, 100% same education, but it's how people are treated in society after the fact, which is where it comes from. But please enlighten me. Explain to me where I'm going wrong or where I'm missing the point, because I believe what white privilege is an unfair advantage to white people within everyday things in society. That's what I believe. That's my interpretation of it. So let me have a read of some more of these comments. I really appreciate people commenting nowadays. I know a lot of decent men. I've got some good friends that are men, says Sarah. It ain't fair for all geezers to tar all geezers with the same brush. Not all men are bad. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. New bus initiative being announced by Boris. It sounds like bus cuts ahead. Yay! I can't believe Sadiq put London bus fares up 5p. Too small increase. Right, now, the problem I have with Sadiq Khan and bus fares is bus fares should have been put up ages ago, and they should have gone up by at least 10 or 20 pence. I also believe that revenue inspectors more need it to be there, because before I was furloughed, I was talking to and I'm not going to mention his name, but a revenue collector, a TfL revenue collector, and he said within London they're over 80 revenue inspectors short because they can't afford the wages. Now, this is a little bit counterproductive if you ask me, because the more you have, the more fare dodgers you're going to catch, the more revenue you're going to pull in. Yeah? This is what annoys me. And I think there should be, especially on these Boris buses, inspectors. Not just safety attendants that used to be there standing on the back door. No, what you need to have is someone on that bus, and on all buses pretty much, do it old school, collecting fares. This is what needs to happen. You see, TfL are out of pocket purely because of Sadiq Khan. I'm an R. Argue with me all you want, but this is true. let's have a look. Sri Lanka genocides, and lady was fighting for sacrifice and genocide, and she was going on hunger strike for 16 days. Ah, okay, now I understand. Trending transport production. And all genocides are disgusting. You see, wiping out an entire population of people, an entire race of people, is disgusting. And the thing is, this has been happening throughout history. I mean, the biggest population that has been on the receiving end of genocide are the Jewish people, the Jewish population. Seriously. I mean, if Hitler had had his way and we weren't triumphant and the Nazi regime won, there wouldn't be a Jew alive today. And if there were, I guarantee they would all be slaves under the Nazi regime. Seriously. And the thing is, genocides across the world are absolutely disgusting. We're all human beings, that we all deserve to live. Khan is an idiot. He started his promises again. This time, affordable housing for key workers, which won't happen. Yeah, see, I'm a key worker. My missus is a key worker. Am I going to get affordable housing? No. By the way, Sadiq Khan, because, you know, I'm very critical of you, actually, Mr. Khan, if you end up seeing this. You're very quick to start blaming the police for what's happened. However, I'm pretty sure you are responsible for what's happened to police in London, not just Cressida Dick. The same as, realistically, you are the one who's responsible for TfL funding. So, why don't you take this on the chin, Sadiq Khan? Because crime, since you've been the mayor, has gone up. Explain that to me, Mr. Khan. Honestly, what an absolute melt. Sadiq is a fool. He introduced cycle lanes not being used, leading to traffic build-up. This is actually happening here, where I live. Between here and Bromley, there are cycle lanes. Bus lanes have been taken away. Cycle lanes have been put in or made wider with bollards separating the main drag from the cycle lane. They don't get used and they cause traffic. And TfL are £13 million in debt for some crap like that. And apparently, because of Khan's poor management over TfL. If you think £13 million in debt is what it is, then you're sadly wrong. You're looking at, it was billions. It was at least 2 billion when I was before I was furloughed, and it's only got worse. In year 10, we had to do a campaign for a certain subject. The group I was in, we're doing knife crime. I had to write Sadiq. I had to write to Sadiq, but no response as expected. Yeah, you'll never get a response from the bloke. And the thing is, I know someone that went to school with the bloke. And he hasn't changed. He was an arsehole then and he's an arsehole now. He's a liar. He seems to think that everyone's going to be sympathetic towards him because, oh yeah, my dad was a bus driver. And? So what, Sadiq Khan? Your dad could have been the bin man. It's another respectable job. Doesn't make you any more of a man of the people though, does it? It makes you a liar because what you promised all bus drivers was a higher rate of fair and equal pay. That never happened, did it? You promised London streets would be safer. That didn't happen, did it? No. I mean, I could rattle off a few more, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to be petty. Equality and human rights. Well, the thing is, this is what it comes down to at the end of the day. We do need equality and we do need human rights across the board. And it shouldn't just be a European Union thing. It should be a global thing. There should be a global bill of human rights. That's just me. In fact, you know what? Moving off on a tangent somewhat. You know, I know people keep going on about, oh, it's a conspiracy. about the New World Order and COVID. Everyone's trying to control us with vaccines and there's going to be a microchip and 5G is going to activate it and the earth is flat and blah, 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 blah. But the governments, they all want to do away with countries and have one government. Blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something, okay? Even if that was true, even if... No, I didn't say anything to you, Siri. Thank you very much. Even if that was true, think about how good that would be. Yeah? Even if there was a microchip in my body, which there isn't, think of all the good it would do. It could have my bank details on there. It could have my name on there, my age on there. It could have my medical history, my driving license, my passport, my vaccination history, my everything could be on this microchip. Fine, not a problem. If I have a heart attack on a bus somewhere and an ambulance comes and they scan that microchip, they'll know exactly who I am and they'll know exactly what my medical history would be and they'll be able to treat me faster and save my life. Even if they are tracking me through a microchip, what do you think this is? That's my missus there. You've never seen her before, ain't she beautiful? You see, think about it. Even if you're being tracked on a microchip, you're being tracked on your phone, you're being tracked on your watch, you're being tracked when you go to the supermarket, when you pay for something contactless, and you use your Nectar card, you use your Tesco's Club card. They know exactly where you are and what you wipe your ass with. So having a microchip in your body is the least of your worries, isn't it? Think about it. If we had a global government that was one massive conglomerate where every single government dissolved and there was one single government to rule the world, let's call it a new world order, how bad would that be specifically? Think about it. Tell me why it would be a bad thing. I'll tell you what would be a great thing, because there wouldn't be any country divide anymore. We'd be Earth. We wouldn't be English, American, Japanese, Chinese, North Korean, South Korean, Jamaican, Mexican, Australian, Indian. We wouldn't have any nationality. Do you know why? Because we'd be human beings. We'd be Terran, which is what we, technically speaking, we are, because, Earth is actually known as Terra. We would be Terrans. Even if we had one leader for the entire planet, that would be better. That would solve so many problems. It would put an end to so much war. Hopefully that would bring an end to the division between religion. If people could see the similarities in religions under a new world order, think how great that would be. Yeah, whether you're Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, it doesn't matter what you are. Whatever your religion is, there's thousands of religions out there, but they've all got one thing in common. Creators, or a creator, or creators, to be better people, to live your life in a good way. There's so many similarities in religions as opposed to differences. So what would be the worst thing about a centralized global government under a new world order with a microchip in your body? What would be the worst thing in the world? Would it be the worst thing in the world? I don't think so somehow. I actually, at this stage in the game, I'd actually welcome it somewhat. And by the way, even though there aren't microchips in your body, and even though 5G would never, it's impossible to affect anything like that. Let me just make this very clear for you, COVIDiots out there who seem to think 5G controls COVID. What about COVID that's in countries that don't even have 4G and you think 5G's affecting it? Really? My God. Let me read some more of these comments before going, because I have got things to do today. Funnily enough, these bus drivers in North London regarding pay conditions, why don't the union do its job and unite the TfL drivers? It's a disgrace how large bus companies devalue the industry. Okay, now I have got something to say on this, and I do stand and I support my colleagues in North London with RATP, because they had the balls to stand up for what they believe in and go on strike, okay? And when it comes to unions, what you need to remember is the union isn't just a company. The union is the drivers. It is a union of drivers. And the more drivers you have behind that the stronger the union will be. So to accuse the union of not doing anything is a little bit naive, because what you need to have is drivers backing what the union propose and then follow through with it. Yeah? Because you can't have a union stand up for drivers if the drivers aren't willing to stand up for themselves. The union is the drivers, because it's a union of people. This is what people seem to misunderstand. So if drivers are scabs and they decide to work, or if drivers vote for a crap pay deal, which is what happened in the majority of bus garages, and then moan and say the union didn't do anything. First of all, they didn't stand up for themselves because they voted yes to a crap pay deal and then moaned about it after the fact. Second of all, they need to literally stand by what they say. And if they say we're not happy with something, then the union as a company proposes what they want to do based on the conversations that have been had. And then they propose this to the drivers. The drivers then need to stand with what the union as a company says and stand with the company as a union of drivers to get things done. That's what's happening there. So I think RATP as a company has been treating their drivers disgusting, but it's not just RATP, it's all bus companies across the board have been treating their drivers badly when it comes to pay. But that's just what I'm saying. Let's have a look. I had a walk and no bus on... Excuse me, I haven't got my glasses on. Had walk and no bus on bus strike, and only all route, same bus company are strike. I couldn't go to school. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. The thing is, if you was to contact your school and say to them, look, I'm unable to come in at the moment, or I will be late because of the lack of transport, they would understand, and I'm pretty sure, given the current climate, they'd be able to send you your work via email or some kind of digital service. Yeah, it makes social distancing hard, as buses and other routes are busier because of this. Yeah, it does make social distancing hard. I know it's difficult. CCTV, speed cameras, number plate recognition. Exactly. This is what I'm saying, Transport Hub. You see, we're tracked everywhere. CCTV, speed cameras. Speed cameras don't technically track where you are. We're on the fence on that one. And number plate recognition, which is ANPR, automatic number plate recognition, is what's happening there. Maybe they could unite the drivers. Certainly earn enough money every week. Yeah, you're telling me. They do. At GPs, yeah. But you are right in that respect, because Unite do make a lot of money. I mean, I'm on furlough, as everyone knows. I bang on about it enough. And I get the higher end of furlough, which is fortunate for me. I appreciate the fact that I'm still technically in work and being paid to be at home on a reduced rate, as difficult as it is. But the thing is, when I tried to contact Unite and freeze my payments to them, temporarily freeze my payments, mind, they refused. Apparently, I couldn't freeze my payments to the union. So if anyone knows anything about this, please let me know. They said I needed to either take what I had early or completely cancel it, not just freeze it and then start paying into it again at a later date. No, they wouldn't do that. So, Arjan Sandhu says, have a good rest of your day, ladies and gents. You forgot to mention everyone else that don't identify as ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. And carrots. And carrots. There we go. I kind of look muscly in this jumper. So you can see my pecs sticking out a little bit. Look at that. Beef. Anyway, look, I am going to go. I do wish everyone has an absolutely wonderful week. It is Monday, so please don't try and have that horrible Monday feeling. It is going to get better. It has to be bad in order to get good, doesn't it? So I'm going to say it as I always do. If it's the first time you've joined me and you've enjoyed my dulcet tones on this ridiculous rant on this Monday morning, then please hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video for any reason, give me a thumbs down, but please give me an honest answer why, and give me some decent feedback, because it helps me to improve my channel. And I wish everyone has an absolutely wonderful day. Happy Monday. Social distance, wear a mask, wash your face, wash your bum. See you later. Mwah.